Harper loved the night, the way the world hushed, shadows stretching long and welcoming. The press of cool air on her skin, a secret language whispered just for her. Every night, once the town was asleep, she'd slip out her door and into the embrace of the darkness. Her walks were a ritual, a soothing balm for her soul. The familiar streets transformed, each tree and bend holding a new mystery in the moonlight. She felt most alive in the quiet hours, the world a blank canvas for her thoughts to paint upon. Tonight, however, felt different. A strange energy crackled in the air, making the hairs on her arms stand on end. The usual symphony of crickets and rustling leaves was gone, replaced by a heavy, unnerving silence. Harper paused, her hand instinctively reaching for the silver pendant she always wore, its coolness against her skin a source of comfort. She scanned her surroundings but found nothing out of place. Still, the feeling persisted, a prickling sensation that whispered of unseen eyes. Quickening her pace, she veered off her usual path, drawn by an unknown force deeper into the woods that bordered the town. The trees grew denser, their branches intertwining overhead, choking out the moonlight and casting ominous shadows that danced around her feet. Then she saw it, nestled between the gnarled roots of an ancient oak. A small pond shimmered, its surface unnervingly still. It seemed to materialize out of the darkness, a pool of inky black reflecting the sliver of moon like a single watchful eye. An inexplicable pull drew Harper closer to the pond's edge. The air grew colder, a dampness clinging to her skin like an unwelcome touch. The silence here was absolute, broken only by the frantic beating of her own heart. Peering into the depths of the pond, Harper gasped. Staring back at her wasn't her own reflection, but the face of another girl. Her features were eerily similar to Harper's own, yet distorted as if reflected in a broken mirror. The girl's eyes held a sorrowful depth, her lips parted in a silent plea. Then a voice, thin and reedy, whispered from the depths, "Harper, help me." The voice was chillingly familiar, like an echo of her own, yet laced with an otherworldly sorrow. Terror gripped Harper's heart, rooting her to the spot. She wanted to run, to scream, but her body refused to obey. A strange paralysis took hold, her gaze locked on the spectral figure in the water. Section 4. The Drowning Depths. The reflection in the pond rippled, the water's surface breaking as a pale hand. Its fingers, slender and eerily familiar, emerged from the depths. It hovered in the air for a moment, beckoning, before shooting out with unnatural speed. Harper cried out, or at least she tried to. No sound escaped her lips. Her voice, along with all her strength, seemed to have abandoned her, leaving her helpless in the face of the growing terror. The hand clamped down on her wrist in a vice-like grip, its touch icy cold, sending a jolt of pure fear through her body. She thrashed wildly, her free hand clawing at the air, desperate to break free, but the grip only tightened. Section 5. A voice unheard. With a strength she couldn't comprehend, Harper was yanked forward, her feet slipping on the muddy bank. She fell, her shoulder slamming against the hard ground, the breath knocked from her lungs. Panic surged through her, raw and consuming. The hand, still clutching her wrist, pulled her inexorably towards the pond's edge. She kicked out, her eyes frantically searching the darkness for any sign of help, but the woods remained silent, indifferent to her plight. Her vision blurred with tears of fear as she was dragged closer and closer to the water's edge. The reflection of the girl in the pond stared back at her, her expression no longer sorrowful but triumphant, a chilling smile playing on her lips. Section 6. Silent testimony. One final, desperate scream died in Harper's throat as she was pulled beneath the surface of the water. The coldness enveloped her, a suffocating embrace that stole her breath and dragged her down into the murky depths. She struggled against the relentless pull, her lungs burning, but it was no use. The face from the reflection was everywhere, countless others joining it, their eyes burning into her, their voices a chorus of whispers that echoed in the silence of her watery grave. The next morning, the rising sun cast long shadows through the trees, illuminating a scene both peaceful and eerie. By the edge of the pond, undisturbed except for a faint ripple on its glassy surface, lay a pair of women's shoes, neatly placed side by side. The woods held their breath, silent witnesses to the mystery that lay beneath the water's placid surface.